Hi, and welcome to this week's Thrive in 5. This week I'm going to be talking about thinking and really how hard it is to do thinking. Thinking is hard work, and Henry Ford actually said because thinking is such hard work, it's probably why so few engage in it. And I want to talk a little bit about how to use thinking to actually help you achieve a better result for yourself. This comes courtesy of Dov Gordon. Dov Gordon is a coach, and he's actually a really bright, astute guy that I listen to a lot, and really love what he has to say about this, so I wanted to share it with you. So, thinking is hard work. The first stage of really improving your thinking is to recognize and accept the fact that you are where you are today based on the thinking you've done up till now. So the thinking that you've used for either the last number of years or up until this point in time is what is the precursor of where you are. It's the thinking you've been doing. And in order to change that, if you want to get a better result, a different outcome, you've got to change your thinking. But in order to do that, the only way to make that shift is actually be exposed to new thinking, better thinking, different thinking, and you've got to somehow get yourself in an environment where you can get that kind of interaction, where you can get exposed to the kind of thinking that you need to use to change. And if you look at some of the other Thrive in 5s I've done, we talk about who you hang around, the books you read, the kind of inputs that you have in your life. And so the more you expose yourself to different kinds of thinking, the more likely it is that you're going to be able to change it. Once you've exposed yourself to it, exposure isn't enough. Yes, exposure is really the catalyst sometimes, but you actually have to test it. And so if you have new ideas and new ways of thinking that you've been exposed to, then it's really important that you try those on, you explore them, you try to experience them, you try, you test. And really, that's a lot of hard work, and you have to do that in little stages. It doesn't happen overnight, and thinking is the thing that drives much of the actions we take. So it's really important that you try on those new thoughts, those new ways of thinking, a different way of looking at things. You try them on, and by doing so, you're actually testing them. The next stage, though, is really where all the frustration comes, because you're kind of trying on something new and you struggle with it. So there's a lot of struggle to actually embrace new ways of thinking, because essentially what you're doing at this point is you're getting rid of this old way of thinking. So you've exposed to it, you test it, you kind of explore it, and then you actually have to dig right into it and change the way you're doing things and replace the old with a new, better, or different way. And out of that, through that struggle and through the replacement of the thinking that you're doing, comes a level of success. Sometimes it's extraordinary success, sometimes it's just incremental improvements. But you really know you're thinking in a new way when you're able to live it. And when you're living that new way of thinking, it really helps that you see it emerge in your life and you see the results of that. Now, that's explaining it. I want to give you a simple example. It's been said that what it takes to get you to $1 million in revenue if you own a business or run a business is a very different way of thinking than what gets you to $5 million in revenue. And it's dramatic because often you get stuck at $1 million, and $1 million is a sort of magic number for a lot of companies, but a lot of people get stuck at this kind of thinking. Owner-operators get stuck there because they think a certain way. They think in terms of getting the business done through them and a group of people around them. But the thinking has to switch, and so there has to be exposure to people who are doing different kinds of businesses. You got to test it. You got to quit being the person doing the task and get somebody else to do it. So you begin to get work done through other people. And in order to build a bigger company, there's going to be some struggle in making that happen. But in order to get to become a $5 million company, your whole way of thinking has to change. And so I wanted to outline this so you kind of see the process that it takes to get there. One of the things that I try and do with this Thrive in 5 is just expose you to different ways of thinking. A lot of time that's what I'm doing. I'm taking stuff in and I'm going, how can I share this with you so that you can be exposed to a different way of thinking, a better way of thinking, a new way of thinking, and hopefully as a result of that, you can get to a level of success where it's appropriate for you as you try and grow in your life or in your business. I hope that helps. We'll talk to you next time.